Proudly sponsored by heshes.co.uk, a fast-growing boxing equipment brand that give 20% of all sales on the branded products back to a boxing gym of your choice.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Niche Sports. We are proudly sponsored by Hes Boxing, where 20% of each sale goes to a boxing gym of your choice. This is the F1 race review for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen coming out as winner once again, but this time obviously not starting on pole, and he had to do a bit of work to get it, starting in second, but he quickly made his way up to first and comfortably got the win. This was proven by the fact after he pitted, he still had a 13-second gap to second. So a dominant day for Verstappen, and one that he can be proud of, and probably more so than the usual races where he starts on pole and ends up winning. Lewis Hamilton, the pole sitter, he dropped down to P4 really early on at the start, losing 3 places. It wasn't a great start. He apologised to the team, but he did manage to sort of stay around that area. He finished 4th as well, I believe. He did finish 4th. So I guess after the start of a race, after the first lap, it was a pretty good race for Hamilton, staying around the podium, and a good amount of points for him. So he won't be too disappointed. The McLarens, they had a decent day as well, starting P3 and P4. Lando went up to P2. Oscar Piastri dropping down to P5. Piastri and Norris were running second and third for a very long time, though. Piastri getting overtaken by Perez, and eventually Hamilton. Norris managed to keep his place despite being chased down by Perez. And Perez is another big talking point from this race. He started P9, but made his way up through the field. A comfortable and somewhat demanding drive from a driver who's been under pressure and not done too well as of late. But he made his way up to 3rd and was fighting with Norris to get into P2. So nearly a Red Bull 1-2, and a very successful day for Perez, a very successful day for Hamilton, and overall a very successful day for McLaren. Looking down at the rest of the field, Alonso and Stroll at 9th and 10th, that really shows that, I did say that Alonso was starting 8th, and we know what he can do in races, but he didn't really command his drive today. But I think that's more down to the pace of the Aston Martin. Them finishing 9th and 10th shows the decline over the last few weeks, or last few rounds, from where they were comfortably 2nd fastest car and fighting with Max to now being the 5th fastest car, and not really fighting for them upper points places. So probably a disappointing race result for Alonso and Stroll. Stroll managed to gain a few places. Alonso going back 1, so not terrible, but not great. So probably a bit disappointing for Aston Martin. For Alfa Romeo, well, I did say they're sort of outliers in the top 10, the underdogs, the ones that probably shouldn't be there, and they did both go backwards. For Zhou, it was a terrible start climb with Ricciardo, and he went backwards, and so did Bottas. But I think that was more kind of to be expected. But their weekend was Saturday. It showed the pace that they do have, but it's extracting the pace out of that car. Yes, probably a rarity, a one-off. Well, not one-off, but to see them up that high up the field to start with was good. But yeah, they both fell away, which I think is what we both expect. It's what we all expected to happen anyway. Daniel Ricciardo, then, his first race back did not go to plan, colliding with Zhou at the start and then running around the back for majority of that race. So not a good race for him. Yuki Tsunoda also struggling as well, but that again, I think is perhaps down to the AlphaTauri itself. Obviously, when Ricciardo's down in last, and it's difficult anyway. But with that AlphaTauri being so bad, it's even harder for him to go up the positions. And obviously, with it being his first race in the AlphaTauri and first race back in F1, it's going to take him some time to get used to the car and used to racing again. So it's not his best performance, but we'll see better of Ricciardo, and it probably isn't a true reflection of how his first race perhaps should have gone. Tsunoda, he's been struggling in that AlphaTauri all year, but again, that's perhaps down to the pace of that AlphaTauri, and it showed once again today. Probably the other talking point, Carlos Sainz. His start to the race was absolutely blistering. A fantastic start for him. He went up a few places, which is no shock. George Russell had a great race, P18 to P6. Again, that's probably what we expected. Maybe not to go up that many places because it is difficult to overtake around the Hungaroring. But we expected him to go up, and he went up by lows, P18 to P6. So a very, very solid drive from him. And tops off what should have been a great weekend and has turned out a pretty standard weekend for George Russell. But he'll be happy with his drive today, for sure. Then the Alpines, they both took each other out at the start. That's not what you want. Two teammates doing that is just asking for problems, asking for drama, which we don't need, or they don't need. So it's a terrible, terrible result for them. A terrible race weekend, and even worse because they hit each other. So yeah, very bad weekend on the front for Alpine. But yeah, that's pretty much this race covered. Max dominant again, 7th straight win in a row, and then had his trophy broken by Lando doing his usual champagne celebration, but Lando did break his trophy as well, and it had to be silicone together. I presume Max will get a new one or it'll get repaired, so not much drama there. But yes, Max wins his 7th race in a row. He extends his lead at the top. Red Bull extend their lead at the top of the Constructors' Championship. And yeah, that's really it. That is your Hungaroring F1 race review. A reminder, we are sponsored by Hez Boxing, where 20% of all boxing sales, all sales, go to a boxing gym of your choice. I'll be back next week for my F1 review of Belgium. Thanks for watching.